Hey everybody, this is Jesse Humphrey, and you're listening to After the Gig podcast. It's National Podcast Day, so you should definitely leave this one on because it's a special one. Liz Longley is on today. If you're new to the podcast, thank you, first of all. Thank you so much. If you're a fan of Liz's, make sure you go check out our Kickstarter campaign. She's releasing a new record, buying it back from her label, and she basically funded it within hours of launching it. But she keeps going, and she's going to keep adding more stuff that she's going to do. She's going to make a music video, all kinds of stuff. So go check that out. I think it's up to like over $100,000 or something absolutely amazing. Liz and I went to Berkeley at the same time together. We didn't really know each other then, but we got to know each other from traveling around on the road together, and while she was opening for Stephen Kellogg and now for Carbon Leaf a bunch. She's just great. And stay tuned to the end of the podcast because she performs one of her brand new songs from her new album that has not been released yet at the end of the podcast. And please don't skip over the whole thing. But if you do, I hope you enjoy that performance at the end. Other than checking out the Kickstarter, check out the podcast, the After the Gig Patreon page. There's exclusive content, extra podcasts, there's all kinds of stuff. So go in there and check it out, and please consider supporting the podcast. It's www.patreon.com/afterthegig. Also, you can email into the show, afterthegigpod@gmail.com. Please consider doing that. I love hearing from all of you. And other than that, that's kind of it. I'm kind of hanging out here at the Crescent Ballroom in Phoenix, Arizona. We are on tour right now. I'm on tour with Carbon Leaf. So we're here tonight. We're in San Diego tomorrow. This kind of starts off a little bit of a crazy run. We're playing every night. It was barely a day off. So San Diego tomorrow night, LA, San Francisco, Portland, 2 nights in Seattle, Spokane, however it's pronounced, and then we kind of just keep heading east. So check out the tour dates at carbonleaf.com. Get some tickets. It's been a really, really great tour. And I'm not just saying that. It's been good vibes all around. It's been great shows. We're playing a lot of different stuff that we don't normally play. So it's been really great. If you're new to the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I hope you stick around. I'm not going to go too crazy with this. Make sure you stick around for that performance at the end. And I hope you all have a great week. And happy National Podcast Day. Happy National Podcast Day. Please, 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 please enjoy this podcast with my great friend and very, very talented and wonderful Liz Longley.
Oh, my heart is tangled all around you. When you've got trouble, I've got trouble too. Oh, my life is arm in arm with you. When you've got trouble, I've got trouble too.
Well, since you're like short on time, or since we're short on time, let's just jump right in.
Okay.
You have a new record coming out.
I do.
Or you're going to have it come out. So you just say a little something, something?
This is the little something, something.
Okay, perfect. Did you already make this record?
I made this record.
When did you make the record? What's the name of it?
It's called Funeral from My Past.
Okay.
And I made it in December of 2019 with Paul Moak, who's one of my favorite producers in town. Why?
2018.
Oh shit, yeah. Like, what year is it? I made it in a couple months, and it's done.
I made it in a few months.
2018, thank you. I'm already thinking 2020. So I made it a long time ago, it feels like. Mm-hmm. And I was on a label, / kind of am still at the moment. And, usually you hand a record and it comes out 4 months later. There's a plan, there's a rollout, it's ready to go, and you just jump right into it. At least that's been my experience the past 2 records that I've released on a label. And things have just shifted so much at my label that by the time I handed it in, there was no response. I mean...
In what way did they shift? Like, you just...
Oh, they merged. They got bought. The people who signed me aren't there anymore.
So you feel like you just got kind of like lost in the shuffle?
100%. Those are the exact words I use.
That is the worst. Yes. Very privet. So you feel like you got lost in the shuffle, and so have you heard from anyone since?
I was being in my mind annoying, just trying to get a response, like what's going on, like what's the plan, where are we at with this, and I just never got a solid answer.
They're just giving you the runaround.
Exactly. And it was just after a while, after sitting on this music for so long, and I've started to tour these songs because I want to sing these new songs, and just getting the runaround and not being able to release the record.
Could you make it?
Gary's very quiet. He's a very quiet human being. He has 20 keys attached to a satchel. Anyway. It's fine.
No, it's fine.
You're the soundtrack to our podcast.
All right. So you have the record. You got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And now you're like, I got to release these songs.
Yeah. I can't wait any longer.
So the next move is what you're doing now is you're having to purchase it.
Yes.
From the label.
Exactly.
Are you purchasing it for a deal? Like how does that even work?
At cost, yeah. Okay. So it costs them $35,000 to hire the producer, the musicians, the mixing, the mastering. All that's already done. Yeah. That's what was so frustrating. I'm like, it's done.
It's done.
It's done.
Like, just
I've handed you what I believe to be my best work, and everyone who's heard it believes that as well. And you know what's kind of crazy? I was actually going through my emails today. Is there were a lot of people at the label that wrote me and said they loved it. They're like,
really?
This is my favorite record of yours, or I love the direction that you've gone. So it's just kind of like
before the merge and stuff like that.
No, it was then? Just like it wasn't. It was.
Oh my god, Barry.
That was a laptop
was
just
terrible.
on concrete. So. Hope that works for you.
Those apples are strong though.
Yeah.
Them
apples. Anyway, it was just time. I got the hint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I honestly, I'm engaged to a music manager and someone who's worked with a ton of independent artists and helped, I think, launch 36 successful Kickstarter campaigns, and he was just encouraging me to go independent in that.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it. He seems like, this is my first time meeting him, and he's like sweetheart.
Yeah, he's such a teddy bear.
Such
he's the
a
best.
sweetheart. When did you guys get engaged?
In May in Turks and Caicos on vacation with our friends.
That's so nice. Look at that rock on that
I
thing.
know.
It's beautiful.
Can't you see the shine through the podcast? He did really good. I didn't even help him. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's nice when it's a surprise. I surprised my wife.
Yeah.
And she had no idea what was happening.
It's amazing.
It was fun.
That's so exciting. Yeah, it's been an incredible couple of months, but it's kind of random to be, not random, it's kind of surprising that I'm at this like huge transition in my life with the record and my personal life, and it's just kind of all coming together, I think, in a really good way. So
yeah, and then you're kind of cutting ties with that with the label, and you're starting to do your own thing, and then also having new music to kind of propel yourself forward. The
title track, Funeral from My Past, I wrote that before I knew any of this was going to happen, and it's extremely fitting because now it's this song about letting go of things that don't serve you anymore or burden you, or and here it is. This is me literally having a funeral for my past. And then there's this other side that's like been, I think as of now, it's like 310 incredibly generous Kickstarter backers.
Yeah. So you put up your Kickstarter. We talked about it a little bit before, but you put up your Kickstarter a few hours ago, and you were trying to raise $45,000.
Yeah.
And you raised over 50,000.
I think it's at 55 now, which is
55?
Insane.
Jesus.
I mean, I could double check, but my mom just texted me, "You're so close to 55." My mom's very invested in this.
I'm sure she is. That is incredible. Like, how does that make you feel? It must make you feel.
It just makes me feel so connected because I've spent my life touring, and my favorite thing to do is feel connected to the people that I'm playing music for in whatever way that is. And when I'm on stage, I feel it. And then after show, and I get to meet people and shake their hands and my favorite thing is when they open up to me and tell me what these songs mean to them. Like that's the ultimate. And this is just another way they just make me feel like what I'm doing is worth something to them. And they're such a huge part of my life, and it just feels so great to feel that I'm a part of their lives too.
Yeah, your last record was one of my favorites. It was like I listened to it a lot. And
thank you.
Yeah, your music is just you have the ability to connect with people on like a deeper level.
Thank you. I appreciate
which is
that.
Awesome. So now, do you still feel the same way about these songs, even since you wrote it? Like,
yes, that's the thing. It has not died off for me at all. No
right.
pun intended with Funeral for My Past. But I think these are the best songs that I've ever written, and I just feel so connected to them. And like the songs like Funeral for My Past, I mean, that's a song that just keeps like gaining meaning in my life, you know? So, and a lot of them are like that.
What makes you feel like, as a songwriter, what makes you feel like those are your best songs? Like, what exactly about the songs? Is it just because it's like the current thing you're going through, or is it actually because melodically you feel like it's one of the better things you've done? Or like, what for you,
that's a good question.
What makes it feel like the best you've ever done?
Well, I'll be totally honest. Before I made this record, I felt like 2 records ago was the best I'd ever written.
Okay.
And so I just didn't feel that way about Weightless. Yeah, I felt like I had a little bit.
You didn't feel that way about Weightless?
I don't know. Like lyrically, there was sometimes moments where I wanted more from myself. Okay. And this is how I gauge it. Do I want to sing that song every night? Okay. And I still find, until this record comes out, which will change everything, but I still find that like 75% of my set list was stuff that wasn't off of Weightless, which I was really shocked. Like by the time that record came out, I was like, wait, I'm not dying to add any of these songs to the set list. So that's, I guess, how I gauge it is like, do I want to play this every night? Does this still resonate with me? Okay. And
is that like, does it have to be a lyric thing?
100%.
It's always a lyric thing.
It's a lyric thing. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe partially like how it feels when I'm singing it to people. Like, do I feel like it's just kind of floating into the abyss, or do I feel like it's connecting? And I can feel a difference. Yeah. For me, whenever I'm listening to something that I really like, and it's not always, I don't always gravitate towards the lyrics first. I will eventually, but like, do you ever, it's so hard to explain that feeling of like the sound and the melody and the lyrics all just kind of like throbbing together. Does that make, absolutely, you know what I mean? Like, yes. It, like you go and hit a note and everything is just perfectly like, I mean, your intonation is ridiculous. So it's like when you hear it and it's almost like a tick. It like scratches an itch. You know what I mean? Like it you gets that weird, you know, well, not to get like hippy dippy, but I feel like it's an energy thing. Like, I like think you're filling the room. Yeah. And I think that when a melody, if you never heard the words, if it felt like what you were saying, then it's a great pairing. Like when those two are paired well, and then the production is paired well with it, I feel like you're setting it up to resonate with someone. Whereas you could have a great song that isn't produced right, that doesn't resonate as well, or great lyrics, but the melody doesn't match the feeling of it. And that's the thing I care about the most is like, are they saying the same things if you were to separate them? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, totally. I mean, you want your music and your lyrics to be cohesive. Yeah, that's the word. Pat Pattison. Yes. Prosody. Exactly. Yeah. Prosody is my favorite word, but unfortunately, it's not a commonly known songwriting term. So right. Well, I read that. You know, I was trying to get better at writing songs and stuff and lyrics, and I read through one of his books, and it's like, it kind of changed things for me. It really changed things for me. That book is a game changer. Just reading the book, and then I took an online class with him, and it was just great. It was great. And even if like the songs that I write aren't like the best in the world, I feel like I'm doing my best work now because I know more. Yeah. You know, the more you know, I guess. Pat Pattison completely changed me as a songwriter, and I'm so grateful for that, because when I went to Berklee, I thought, okay, I just need to learn how to write a song. That's what I need to learn how to do. And taking his classes and Scarlett Keyes' classes were just, they were, I mean, I wish I could just go back and take them every day. Yeah. So beneficial. You mentioned the
the production on your new album that's coming out.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for it. Probably not as much as you. But.
No, I'm excited.
But who played on it? What kind of vibe is it? You know, you've been playing tons of solo shows, and I'd love to talk about your kind of touring and how you do that on your own. But like, who played on it? What kind of instrumentation and all that stuff?
We kept it pretty simple in my mind to start. Like we live tracked almost everything. So we had 3 or 4 days of live tracking. I think it was 4. We aimed to do 3 songs a day. Fred Eltringham on drums, who was phenomenal. Just an incredible. Every time he went into the room, he played the thing that ended up being the final thing. Like one of those moments.
That's great.
Tony Lucido on bass. He was not that way. He would play something and come in and critique the hell out of what he played, and we're like, whatever, you're a genius, you know. And then he'd go, no, let me try this, and then he would nail it, and it would add this beautiful new aspect to the song that added more interest. It was really cool.
I love playing with people like that don't just settle for the thing that is like what you're supposed to do, you know. The thing that is like, okay, we can do it this way, but let's see if we can really get something special. Yeah,
and I think that there's this fine line of trying too hard and
for sure.
trying to make it unique or different or weird or whatever.
Yeah, just to make it unique and different.
Yeah, but he seemed to still just serve the song and elevate the song, and Paul Moak produced it, and he played guitar. I think he ended up singing a little bit too. And this amazing guitar player, Chris, I am so sorry I'm blanking on his last name, but he just added beautiful textures with his playing. And the song that I wrote, Torture, he thought of this idea to go somewhere else with it. We actually filmed like 70% of the record making process. So
really?
On the Kickstarter, we're definitely offering a behind the scenes footage into the whole making of it. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So
that's a reason enough to you know, pledge or whatever the terms are.
Yeah, donate, pledge. Yeah, Kickstarter.
Support.
Yeah. My fiance is a videographer, so he just came in and just captured the whole thing, and it was so fun. So fun.
That stuff is so valuable. You know, it's so not my wheelhouse, you know. Some
videography
people, not at all.
Me neither.
It's just some people have the vision for it, but the people that, you know, there are musicians and artists that also have that side of it, and it's like, geez,
they're like a quadruple threat.
Yeah, it's like, what, you know,
like
everything looks amazing.
Yeah,
everything
like the
sounds amazing.
Curated Instagram profile. I'm like, oh God, I wish I had the time and the energy for that mentally.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm just gonna go walk my dog instead of curate my Instagram. That's my life.
How often are you on the road?
A lot.
It feels like you're always on the road.
Yeah, and I'm so lucky that I just had like this 3-week light spell so that I could work on launching this thing, because it's taken a lot of time and effort. But I'm about to go to Texas and South Carolina, and I know that's like nowhere near each other, and then doing a whole West Coast tour.
Really?
Yeah.
On your own or
on my own?
On your own, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm excited. But I'm doing the Texas tour with Scott Mulvihill, who I love.
Yeah, he's great.
A phenomenal musician.
You guys going to do stuff together?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope
and we're
so.
bringing a band. So we're doing co-bill, and we'll each have a band for like half of our set. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wait, so you guys are both going to be up there for most of the time?
Pretty
together?
much. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That seems like the way to do it.
It's going to be so much fun. I've never gotten to do something like that.
Scott, oh, my God. When our paths cross again, he'll be, I don't know what that was. He will be on this podcast, and everyone keeps asking for him to be on.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just so incredibly talented.
I know.
It's infuriating.
But I totally feel that way.
I mean,
but then when you witness it, you're like, oh, freak.
Yeah.
I can't even. It's mesmerizing.
It's mesmerizing.
You're under his spell.
Yeah, because people that play upright bass and sing like that, you know, Esperanza Spalding is obviously one of them. But no, like the coordination that takes, and
next level,
and just getting the bass in tune, like playing great intonation, being a great upright bass player is one thing.
Yeah.
But when you talk to him, you know, he's just talking to you, sounds like a regular guy, and then he goes and sings, and you're like, what is coming out of your face right now?
It's like butter.
It's unbelievable. He has one of the best like voices
I totally agree.
I have ever heard. So that, I mean, I wish you guys were playing on the East Coast.
I know. You know, maybe we will do that at some point, because this all started because we did a show together in Chicago, and I was like, we need to do more shows together. So who knows? If this goes well, we'll go to the East Coast.
I like that you collaborate with people. Like you collaborate with Brian Dunn live.
Yeah.
Who's
Brian.
Also super talented.
He is.
Great friend.
He's got a new record that I cannot wait for the world to hear that. It is beyond.
When does that come out?
I don't know yet. I think he's still shopping it, but it's my favorite Brian Dunn record, and quite possibly my favorite record of next year.
He's one of the more interesting characters I've ever been around.
And this record captures his character.
His personality.
You feel like you're tapping into the way he thinks. And I know the way he thinks because we've spent a lot of time on the road together, and it just feels like him. The record just feels like he's unveiling Brian Dunn.
Who he actually is. Yeah, because I mean, I watch him live and he's just like, man, you're so good.
Yeah.
Like, I just want people to like reach out and get it, because you have to like lean in when you're listening to Brian. He feeds off the audience a lot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I see when I watch him. And when he gets in front of a good crowd and he's it's like, man, this dude, it knows no bounds. You know?
I saw him in New York City recently, and you know, we travel and we play like listening rooms. They're calm, quiet audiences. Mm-hmm. This was a rowdy New York City audience. They were in the palm of his hand.
Really?
He was hysterical. He was like a comedian.
He's so funny.
I know.
That's the thing that people don't get. Like he comes off as dry and like a little, you know, the first time I met him, I'm like, I don't know if this guy likes me. and then, you know, he's on stage. He's hilarious. He's one of the funniest people I know.
I know it.
And he's so great.
Watch out, world. Have you had him on your podcast?
No, not yet.
Okay,
He's another one.
You need to.
He's another one.
Yeah.
But when you're do you just travel by yourself, or are you with your fiance?
He comes with me now, which is amazing. I can't take Stella. That would be very hairy, but I wish. I take her
rolling before every show.
Oh, you know it. She is a yellow lab. But if I have a special one-off show where I can bring her, I do. Like I take her to the lake every year for a lake series I do, and she just swims, and then I get on stage and she sits next to me. It's adorable.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, she's the best. But my fiance is also the best, and he comes with me, it just makes everything better.
Yeah.
He's also an artist. He's like everything. And he makes these set lists for me every night that I never know what they're going to look like, and they're always so cool. So
he makes a set list for you?
Yeah, but he like draws around it. He'll pick a theme.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
It's so fun.
My wife would never do that.
Last night was today is actually our anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. And he's just so creative. He got me like a bottle of wine and then put his own label on it that had like all this stuff about us on it.
Oh my God.
I know. He's just
extra. Too good.
He's extra.
Man, he's making us other fellas look bad. Oh man, that's so nice. That's so cool. When is your family musical?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about. I know your mom's come out to some shows and stuff.
Yeah,
she's very sweet.
The best.
Tell me about your family.
So my dad was the oldest son of an army band leader. So my grandfather was a trumpet player and an army band leader and had 5 children, and I think he thought it was normal to just like have his kids every night locked in their room playing for hours on their random instruments. So, and whenever anyone came over, he'd line them all up and they'd have to play for whoever came in the house. So
it's amazing.
Yeah. And so my dad thought that was normal
like
to do with me.
For me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Exactly. So whenever someone would come over, he'd have me play a song, and I was the shyest kid. I couldn't take it. But I think all those hours spent playing music and listening to music with my dad, I mean, I would sit in front of a karaoke machine, sing to my dad all the way through the song, and then you go, okay, your tone needs to change here, you were a little flat here, try this, I didn't feel that when you said this, I just didn't believe it. You know, he would just he was my own Simon Cowell.
My own Simon Paul.
Simon Cowell.
That's incredible.
You know what? I really enjoyed it growing up.
Did that make you able to take like constructive criticism better because you heard it from your dad early on?
Yeah. You know, I wonder if it's easier to hear from my dad because I just trust his ear so much. Like I know he's going to hear things that other people aren't going to hear, but because he hears them, now I hear them. And he's got a very picky ear, so
yeah, our dad sounds similar.
Yeah, totally. I love your dad. He's awesome. But my parents supported every musical dream I ever had. They never told me I couldn't do it. They never told me it wouldn't make sense. They're both entrepreneurs, so I started young. They would help me make the phone calls. They would help me write the emails. They were on my team, and they still are.
I'll tell you that's something that not every kid. I mean, I didn't have that. I was always shy. Like, didn't want to. I always felt stupid, like reaching out and sending an email, like, "Oh, I'm just going to get rejected."
I still feel stupid doing it.
I know, but the thing is, it's like you have to do it. You have to like keep constantly reaching out, and that's kind of what I try to do now.
Yeah.
So many years later.
Yeah.
But having that at a young age is like.
For sure. I don't think that I've
the golden gun. Right there.
And I don't think that I've completely gotten over like asking. I mean, I know I just launched a Kickstarter, but the anxiety of just needing someone, I just don't want to need anyone. I don't want to put them out. I don't want to inconvenience anyone. And but I think that's really hard because a lot of people that I see that are successful in the music industry are just fearless. They'll ask for anything.
Yeah.
They're like, I want this gig. Give me this gig.
Give me this gig, yeah.
And if I just get a soft, answer, I'm like, okay, I'll let it be. I don't ever want to be friends with anyone because I like their music.
Yeah.
Or I need a favor.
Yeah.
I want to be friends with someone because I just like them.
Because you just like them. You don't have to expect anything.
I don't want anything from anyone. It's really weird.
Well, it's a good way to be. Like, you're self-sufficient.
Yeah, but it like goes the wrong way sometimes. Sometimes
like
Patrick's like, you need to like go after some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not lazy.
Yeah, no.
It's just I try to do it all on my own.
Yeah, but your talent speaks for itself. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's hard to ask for stuff.
Yeah.
I have a Patreon. It's
You
hard.
do?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for the podcast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Patreon.com/afterthegig. No, and it's hard, and I don't know how to ask people.
Yeah.
Because it's a podcast, you can get it for free, and some people don't understand like what the need is for a monetary thing. But it's like
it's time consuming.
It's very time consuming, and I would love to like come down here for a couple of days and be able to talk to a lot more people. It just expands the net, really.
Totally. Well, if you ever need a place to crash, you got a place in East Nash.
I appreciate it. Oh,
wow! I never said that out loud.
You wrote your next song. That's your next country hit.
My next song is called "Need a Place to Crash, Come to East Nash."
All right. Well, someone's going to take it and run with it.
I knew I moved to Nashville for a reason.
Are you? Where did you grow up? You grew up in the Northeast.
Yeah, I
right?
guess.
Well, I'm guessing Massachusetts.
I wish. Thank you.
Connecticut?
No, I grew up outside of Philadelphia.
Outside of Philadelphia? Why? Yeah, you definitely told me that one time.
It's okay. I spent so much time in Massachusetts, and I'm obsessed with Massachusetts. It's my favorite place. I feel the most at home in that state more than any other state. And what's crazy is about a year ago, I found out that my family, when we immigrated, we landed in, what's it called? Well, somewhere in Massachusetts. There's a city. I was just there. I just played a house concert there.
Boston.
No. Oh, no.
Plymouth.
No.
Land on Plymouth Rock.
But we were massacred there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I'm here today to talk about it.
Someone wasn't.
Someone survived.
Someone survived.
But I found that out, and I was thinking maybe that's why I feel so attached to Massachusetts. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But
I was so bummed to move out of Massachusetts.
Well, you're still close.
Super close. We're less than an hour away. But when I moved up there, it was for school. And I don't know what your college journey was, but we were both there at the same time at Berkeley. Did you transfer to Berkeley? So that was your right out of high school. That's where you went. Mm-hmm. So I was like a bad student, like not a bad kid, but just didn't really apply myself. I was a class clown, kind of joked around, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I went to like community college for 2 years, kind of tried to figure things out. And then I applied to Berkeley. I finally got up, like we were saying, finally got up the knife to apply to a big old school in the big city. But I applied to Berkeley and I got waitlisted. And I went in, did my interview, and then my audition went pretty well. I think the only reason I got in was because of my audition and interview.
So what year was that? Because when I was there,
It was
they didn't.
07.
Oh, so wait, were you auditioning for scholarship?
No, I auditioned to.
They didn't have auditions when I went there in 2006.
You went in 2006. Yeah, so I came in a year later.
So they implemented it a year after.
I think so.
Okay. I mean, I know it was sometime I was there. I didn't know it was that soon, but I know what the process is like because I had to do it for scholarship, and it can be pretty intimidating.
It definitely wasn't for scholarship when I did my audition.
Okay.
And it was audition. It was intimidating.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have like Kenwood Denard, I had Tony Smith, I had Terry Lynn Carrington sitting there. And, you know, it's like you have to sight read, which I was terrible at.
Yeah.
And I had something prepared and I played, you know, and I just wanted to like show them how I could play.
Yeah.
And it was so hard for me to try to like stay within the constraints because my brain doesn't work that way. I just have to like
Well, you're creative and that's what
I guess so. Yeah. But like I went in and they were like, you have a lot of potential, but you just you can't, there's something not happening here. And that's what Kenwood Denard said to me. And I was like, okay, thank you, Kenwood. I'll see you later. I'll see you never. Thanks. And then Tony like sat me down after and he was like, you know, I know what he's saying, but don't let it discourage you. Like you have something.
Him. Yeah.
And I went to my interview and it went well. And the lady was really, really nice. And she kept in contact with me and she kept like encouraging me to like do better in school, like, you know, academically and stuff like that. But it was a nice experience getting in. When I was there, I had a little bit of a tough time because I wasn't always the artsy, you know, person. What was your experience at Berkeley?
What do you mean by that?
I love sports and I love like a lot of different stuff, you know. I love music is my favorite.
You're like a full human being. You're not just like you have one side of you just don't do one thing.
Yeah, and I couldn't really
You're balanced.
Yeah, and those other kids didn't really accept me right away. Yeah.
Wow.
It was hard.
I'm surprised.
It was
You're so likable.
Yeah, but I became a different person throughout, like from the start of Berkeley to the end. I was a different person, and then when I left, it was just like I completely changed. I'm a completely different person than 2007. So, which is kind of bizarre to even think about.
Was your name Jesse?
It wasn't. What was your experience there? I mean, you got to. What time is it? You okay?
I have a few more minutes. I have a few more minutes.
All right, cool.
I loved my time at Berkeley, but I was one of those rare, like I noticed that a lot of people in the songwriting system just, there was a lot of pushback, a lot of comments saying, you know, if I learn too much about songwriting, it won't be good anymore. I'll lose my magic. And I'm like, I want to know everything. Yeah. I don't think you can know enough. Yeah. And so I just dove into Berkeley. I tried out for everything there was to try out for. Submitted my stuff to everything. I was just kind of obsessed.
I'm so envious of that. I really wish I had done that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would have, we didn't even know each other.
I know. That's crazy.
And we had mutual friends and stuff, but I stuck to that friend group like glue. And I didn't get outside of it. And they were great people, but like, I really wish I was more involved.
Do you stay in touch with those friends from Berkeley?
A couple of them. Yeah. A couple of them, and I run in, and the nice thing is, and this has happened to me in so many walks of life, like even after high school, you come across someone that you didn't really know, and then you become best friends with them.
That's cool.
Later on. So like you and I know each other really well, and you know, I met Brian through Steven, through all this whole thing. Yeah. To actually getting out there and playing and trying to, you know, make your life and stuff like that. And it's interesting to kind of cross paths with people from after, and they're like, "You were there at that time?"
Because it's not a big school. No. And what's also weird is I don't know, some people have just gotten on the scene, and I'm like, "Where were you all this time?" Yeah. And it's so cool that they're back at it. Like, 'cause some people were like, "I can't do this. I'm just going to do a corporate job and come back to it." Yeah. And that's worked for some people. But and also some people just don't do any music anymore. That's kind of sad.
Well, I think it just happens to people later, you know.
Yeah.
If you're in school and you're a freshman or sophomore at Berkeley, you know, like so many drop out.
Yeah.
And it just happens from earlier, which is a bummer. It's a bummer to think about, but you know, those people I'm sure have found stuff.
Their calling.
Yeah, they found their calling, and
true.
music wasn't it. And
Yeah.
they had a really expensive first year
Yeah,
figuring that out.
really. God.
I had 4.
I would just stick to it just to, for my school loans.
I know. It's crazy. But, well, I'm glad that you could do this.
Thank you for
and
having
I
me.
want you to have plenty of time to get ready. Do you want to play one of the new tunes?
Sure.
All right, cool. Let's do it. And I'll put the headphones on and figure out. I'll get this sounding right. And this is perfect. 30 minutes. All right. So I will hold.
Okay.
This will probably. Beta will probably sound better on your voice.
Okay. They're 2 different mics?
Yeah.
Sorry, your arms are going to hurt.
That's all right.
Okay, this is a song that I wrote just in time to make it on the record about Patrick. I told him I wrote a love song for him, and he said, "What's it called?" I said, "It's called Torture."
Nice.
Being without you is being locked in a room. An eternal afternoon set to a song sung out of tune over and over again. Why does it feel like torture not to have your skin on mine? How I lived before you loved me, and now I'm dying all the time. All my pleasure choked by pain. Since I let you get away, I should have tied you to the bed when I had you in the flesh. Now I'm chained to the memory. How the music played along, how my hair came down, how you kissed my mouth with a fire I can't put out. Why does it feel like torture not to have your skin on mine? How I lived before you loved me, and now I'm dying all the time. I'm only mad for you, my love. I'd come alive for you, my love. I'm holding out for you. It's all for you. Why does it feel like torture not to have your skin on mine? How I lived before you loved me, and now I'm dying. How I lived before you loved me, and now I'm dying. How I lived before you loved me, and now I'm dying all the time.
Woo! Man!
I was
All right.
worried about your arms the whole time. Hi, Brienne. Well,
All right, that was great.
Thank
That
you
was
so
awesome.
much for having me.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you, Jesse. Before the gig, after the gig. Who cares? It's
Who cares?
the gig.
It doesn't matter. It's the gig.